Hello everybody, this is SeetherCord and welcome to yet another installment of my SeetherTalks series here on YouTube. Now today I got a shocker for you guys. Oh my god, Seether's not talking about furries for once, yay! But yes, and more seriously, I'm trying to branch out and do more non-furry related content in terms of what I want to talk about and discuss for this series. And I hope you guys enjoy that very well, because I enjoy doing it as well as such. Now, I will say that for today's SeetherTalks episode is going to be a little bit more personal, I would say, than I believe that my other YouTube videos have pretty much been, because I feel like I kind of tend to keep my own personal life and personal self away from my YouTube videos for the most part, so this one's going to be a little bit different, so sorry if it throws you off a bit. And today's topic for SeetherTalks is going to be discussing the concept of high school, what I think about it, my overall experience with it, and what I would suggest to say to people that are currently in high school themselves that watch me, and what I would say to do in terms of surviving. So if you're watching me and you're currently in high school and making your way through, this video's for you. You know, my heart goes out to you, man. Just trying to do something cool, but that failed completely. So let me give you pretty much just a rundown of what my high school experience was like since I just graduated, explaining my 4 years and exactly what I went through and what I would explain for you. So to start off, I was really weird. I was very obnoxious. I did not know how to socialize that well. I had to go into certain training because of the fact that I didn't socialize that well. I didn't fit in at all. I didn't ever do any form of extracurricular activities. I just went there to do my schoolwork and then I went home. And I would say that was probably my biggest mistake in terms of going to high school, because due to the fact that I never really went out of my way to really interact with other people in terms of, fitting in high school, it really did kind of affect me emotionally, and it really did make me feel alone a lot of the times. And that is one thing I will say, is that if you do feel like you don't fit in high school, do your best to still find people to relate to in high school or hang out with, because of the fact that there are certain people out there that you can relate to if you feel like you don't. There are always going to be people that you can relate to. And to go to another thing involving what I think of high school, of how it's structured and its ways of, teaching people and it affecting students, I feel like it's split into two different ways. One aspect being the social aspect, and the other aspect being the aspect of the curriculum. Now, to first go into the curriculum aspect of what they teach you, I will say my biggest criticism with the schools here, at least in my country, I don't know where you are if you're watching this video, if you're not in the US, but here in the US, my biggest complaint with the way they teach us is I feel a lot of it's really copy-paste. A lot of it's really more so built for you to memorize for tests instead of actually applying what you're supposed to be learning to your real life. And I feel like a lot of the information that they teach us, that they require us to memorize to graduate, is really pointless to me. And it really did discourage me and make me, affect my grades, because I wasn't the best student either. I was more along the lines of a C student for the most part. So if you ever feel like as if you're stupid, or if you feel like you're not as smart as other people in your classroom because of the fact that you don't do as well in the classes, know that that's not the case, and that's more so because of the fact that the system in which you're being taught off of is pandering towards one specific type of student who's really more so built to memorize things better, which is not saying it's a bad thing to be good at memorizing things. It's just the system of where you're being taught is built to in the foreground of pandering towards students who are good at memorization. And now to go on to the social aspect, I do notice that when it comes to high school, we kind of live in a social hierarchy kind of deal, where everybody is kind of, trying to fit in and try to be the number one most popular and most liked student at the school, and everyone kind of fights for that position. But the sad part of doing so with that and trying to fight for that position is that you have to give up a lot of your own unique personality and talents, because it looks for someone to be a certain type of way. And a lot of students sadly go out of their way to really, change the way that they are uniquely, and just, make them do things or be ways that they don't actually want to be, and it can destroy them as a person. And that sucks, because I know that every student in your high school is unique in their own way, but a lot of them do, throw away their own uniqueness in order to be able to fit that non-existent number one spot at the school, to be the most liked person and, fit at the top of the social hierarchy, because they feel like that's the only way they can be accepted. What I would say for you to do if you ever get put into that situation is ignore the hierarchy completely. Don't care about what other people think of you, and just continue to be yourself and not pander towards this fake kind of, hierarchy thing, and make sure you stay as who you are and continue your talents, and strive to look for people that also share the same interests and talents as you do. And you can, build friendships and relationships off that, so you won't have to feel so alone and by yourself in high school, because there is always going to be at least one person in your school that you can fit in with and relate to. And one last thing I will say is that I do notice a lot of students at my school who also did not really fit in that well and had kind of a harsh experience with school feel really bitter towards a lot of students at the school, and they say things like, oh, I hate them and stuff like that. Know that you should not be that way. At least me personally, I don't hold any form of grudge against students that are that way. I more so just feel more so sad for them because of the fact that they had to give up a lot of their own unique talents and personality traits just to fit that hierarchy stance. And also at least be, hopeful that a lot of them will eventually, realize that that wasn't something they needed to go for, and they end up, going back to how they originally were and just being their original self. And then there are certain students that will never grow out of that, and that's just how the world works. And, be grateful for the ones that will be nice to you and will, grow up as well and be aware of, the toxicity that is that whole hierarchy thing at school. And for the ones that don't grow out of it, just simply go by your day. And in terms of life after high school, know that it gets better. You tend to have more of a control over where your surroundings are, who the people you be around, and more of your whole life becomes under your own control. And you start to understand more about yourself and more about what you want to do. And always know that you should live your life doing what you want to do, not what other people want you to do. I sadly fell into the trap of doing that for a long time with certain people in my life, and thankfully I'm glad that I got out of that. Another thing I want to say is, if you want to go to college, go to college. If you don't want to go to college, then don't go to college, because that's also what something a lot of people at your school, like teachers and other students, will really push on you when you're near your end of your high school career, is saying oh, it's so important to go to college. It's so important. That's the only way you can get success. That's not true. You can find your own form of success in any way, and it doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter what kind of degree you got, if you have a degree or not. It doesn't matter. Just do what you want to do and strive to complete and reach what you want to reach. And it doesn't matter where the heck other people think it should be only what you want it to be. And that's all I really have to say. If there's anything else left I would have to add for this, is that it's that I would say that when it comes to where I'm going to go, I'm still a little bit scared of where I'm going to end up in a few years because of not knowing exactly what I want to do yet, or not sure if I'll be able to get to where I want to go yet. Not more so out of the just not being able to do it, but just more so building up confidence in myself to be able to do those things. But, it's something I got to work on, with baby steps every day. Another one last thing I would say is that when it turns to, moving on with your life, take things in little bursts. Don't try to expect yourself to do so much in one time, because I know a lot of people do expect you of that, especially with society. But know that go at your own pace. Just get as much as you can get done without it stressing on you, and then just repeat that in that amount of time. And that's all I got left for this episode of SeetherTalks. Sorry if it was more so kind of a personal kind of self kind of reflection kind of video. And I don't usually make videos like this often, but I feel like it was appropriate considering the fact that I just finished school. And, I feel like this video could, reach out to certain younger people that watch me who are just now starting high school or in the middle of it, and they just feel like, oh, I want to get it over with right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button to further help out my channel, as well as subscribing if you have not already to further help me out as well. I have been SeetherCord, and I will see you guys in another video. So goodbye, everyone.